Okay, we left off on the last video where we had some examples of where you're given a slope and you want to find the slope of the perpendicular line. All you have to do is flip the fraction and then use the opposite sign. So if your slope is 4, the new slope is negative 1/4. If your slope is negative 2/3, flip it, change the sign. The new slope of the perpendicular is 3/2. Negative 1/6 gives you a slope of 6. Now, if you have a slope of 1, when you flip 1 over 1, that's the same as 1 over 1, and you make it negative. So 1 and negative 1 are opposite reciprocal slopes. And if I have a slope of 0, that's the same as 0 over 1. If I write it as 1 over 0, that's undefined. Remember, you can't have a 0 in the denominator. So take a minute, pause the tape, and write it down if you need to. Okay, here we're going to write the equation of a line through the point 5, negative 3, and perpendicular to the line y equals 4x plus 1. Okay, so to write the equation of a line, I always just need a point and a slope. Okay, so I want my line to be perpendicular to this line. So I look at this line, the y equals 4x plus 1, and I figure out what its slope is. All right, its slope is right there. It's 4, not 4x. It's 4. So now I write, okay, so slope equals 4. But I'm looking for a perpendicular line. So what I want is the slope of the perpendicular line. So I'm going to draw an arrow here. So my new slope then has to be the opposite reciprocal of 4, which is negative 1/4. So this is the slope that I want to use here. I'm going to put that one in green. Green for go, right? So I'm going to use a slope of negative 1/4, and I'm going to use this point 5, negative 3. Then I'm going to write the point-slope form of a line. So there it is, the point-slope form of a line, and I'm just going to fill in the blanks with the stuff that I know. Okay, so my x value is 5. I'm going to put that right here. Okay, oh, I don't want that in subscript. I'm going to move that up. Okay, and my x value is my y value is negative 3. So I'm going to put that here. Did the same thing. Move that up. Okay. So now I can fill in what the slope is. The slope was negative 1/4. And I'm almost done. I'm going to rewrite this by just changing this minus minus into a plus sign. Okay, so I've got y plus 3 equals negative 1/4 x minus 5. Now, if I were to go ahead and multiply by the negative 1/4 to try and put it in slope-intercept form of the line, this is going to be a mess. I'm going to have fractions. But I can just leave it like this, and I can easily graph it from here. Okay, so a few reminders when you're writing equations of lines. We want to avoid some common mistakes or things that are just not common as you get into more advanced math. First of all, if it's y minus 0, we don't write the minus 0, right? You guys know that. We would just leave that off and we would just write y equals. And if I've got a slope of 1, I wouldn't write multiply by 1. I would just leave that off. So instead what I'd write here is just y equals x minus 4. So I'm just kind of leaving off the unnecessary stuff, right? Same thing if I have some fractions that need to be reduced, you can bet on me taking off a point or two if you don't reduce it. So 4/10 is the same as 2/5. So I'm going to change that to 2/5. This guy should be 1/3, right? 5/15 is the same as 1/3. And this 0, minus 0, I don't need to write that. Okay, so I'm going to cross that off. So what am I left with here? I've got y minus 2/5 equals, it's a little sloppy, sorry, 1/3 x. There you go. And then that's a better way to write that equation. You want it to always be as simple as possible. Okay, so after you've watched this video, I want you to work on pages 194 to 196, number 8 to 63, all. Now you've got odd answers in the back of the book. You can look at the teacher's manual, which your sub should have, to see the even answers. You should work in groups or with a partner, but do make sure you're checking answers. You, I think, have already done some of these problems, depending on which class you're in. Either way, I want you to finish all of them odds and even. G block, you guys are going to have 2 days to work on that. If you have any questions, you can always send me a remind message.